A red moon hangs in the sky. Sins that cannot be fully paid in life become light after death. Sinners must become reapers who guide the deceased until they have fully paid their debts to be reborn. Then, a woman holds a book. She is Kim Ji-ho, and her current debt is 752,300,481. A man in a suit looks at her. Simultaneously, she informs him that the remuneration for new reapers starts at 9,861, including maintenance, transportation costs, and overtime pay. Then, she asks him if he understood. Next, she questions if he can start working now. The man then asks if she is serious about paying off the debt with money. On the other hand, the woman smiles and asks why he isn't familiar with the system. Nowadays, even the world of the living embraces capitalism. Meanwhile, the two walk through the streets. Then the newbie asks where they are going. The agent smiles at the newbie and asks if she can tell him something important. She then explains that if he doesn't like the working conditions and tries to run away instead of paying his debts, the yaksha will come and get him. And well, this handsome man with a somber and tired appearance is Muhan, captain of the evil spirit disposal unit of the Afterlife Reapers, the Yaksha Corps, now in a building under construction. Muhan comments that it took a little longer because he had to deal with an evil spirit. Soon after, Muhan meets with the two humans from the beginning. He says he'll leave that to them. The two agents observe the location. The woman says he worked hard and asks if he would like to be rewarded. Then our hero asks her to just return his light instead. She then suggests they think of something different. So Muhan asks if the newbie knows that a fugitive reaper is subject to immediate execution. The newbie is then astonished. The girl confirms that the moment they escape, they are considered evil spirits that have fled from hell. Muhan approaches the agent and says 1 million. He adds that anything less won't do. Our hero says that if they manage to catch a fugitive, it will be a big deal. After all, she doesn't usually receive that much. However, she questions if he is sure that all his debts are paid this way. Muhan then asks if she hasn't missed something. Muhan then says he hates getting hurt. He extends his hand towards the newbie while an absurd energy emanates from it, fully recovering his arm that had been severed. Finally, he tells the agents that he is leaving. The agent advises him that she will make the deposit that same day. The two agents watch Muhan walk away. The newbie then asks if that man was a yaksha. The agent confirms that he was. Special reapers are imbued with the power of the yaksha god. The reapers in turn hunt evil spirits that have escaped from hell. Among all of them, Captain Muhyon's ability is greed. Furthermore, legend has it that if Muhan speaks or thinks of something he desires, his wish will be granted. The newbie, impressed, comments on Muhyon's incredible ability, considering it cheating. He questions if, by wishing for money, Muhan could quickly pay off his debt. The agent lights a lighter and laughs, stating that there are limitations. She explains that the ability's effect only applies to things Muhan already possesses, whether physical or inanimate objects. Above all, a certain desire for death is required to activate the ability. The newbie, confused, asks what she meant by what happened before. The agent stares at him. Then she wonders if Muhyon's fear of pain was greater than his fear of death. Now, in another location, a group of people sleep huddled together. The agent, still explaining, asks the newbie to think about what happened to Muhan. Regardless of how painful it is, his body cannot escape death. Muhan says he hates feeling pain, but what he hates even more is Muhan, holding someone, says not to get hurt. Soon after, he pulls the boy's leg with an energy that surrounds him. Someone important is feeling that pain. Muhan then counts to 5. While observing the boy's foot, he says that everything in his sight is intact. And relieved, he comments that no one died in sight. He says that it was still a rare day where everyone got off work early. Finally, Muhan gets up, leaving the boy's body on the floor, saying that there are just under 2 hours until he has to go to work. Muhan looks at his watch and comments that even though he slept more than usual, he still feels tired. Since that happens every time, he decides to take a quick nap here in the world of the living instead of returning to the afterlife. Muhan prepares to lie down on the floor next to other people and says that the place is a room for 10 people. He states that he transformed the place into a dormitory with the little money he had for his colleagues, and it also serves as a treatment facility. But he complains that it's still too cramped and that he should should try to find a bigger room. Suddenly, our hero trips and sprains his foot. Then a girl enters the room saying that the door is open again, but then she sees who was there and calls out to her captain. Seeing that Muhan was hanging upside down, the girl asks him what the hell he is doing. The girl approaches Muhan and asks why his voice is hoarse. Yes, he had been drinking again. Then the girl says she is so happy to see him after a few days and asks what he ate. He then says he was just sleeping and asks about her. Is she some kind of sleepwalker? She replies that she had come back from the convenience store. The girl says she knew he couldn't sleep if he didn't drink. Soon, our hero rebukes her, stating that he had already told her to stop drinking. But contrary to his expectations, she asks what he means by that and if he will drink with her. Muhan then says he should help her drink less. Feeling generous, the girl offers some snacks to Muhan, saying that he must be hungry. Our hero replies, criticizing her for only eating junk food. Suddenly, Muhan stares at her seriously. Then, Muhan looks at the girl's hand. Her hands are injured. Seeing this, Muhan promptly heals her injuries, asking her not to hurt herself. The girl smiles as she sees her hand return to normal. Then, she clasps her hands together and tells her boss that she has a question. Muhan asks what the question is. The girl finally asks when getting hurt became more terrible than dying. Muhan stares at the girl. Then she asks if he used to dislike them. Muhan thinks with his head down. While sitting down, Muhan says it's not that he didn't like them, but rather that they were a little irritating. His job was already difficult enough, and suddenly having to train some juniors was too much to handle, mainly because they didn't listen to him. The girl affirms that those were difficult times. Muhan then continues, saying that being a yaksha means being surrounded by the worst of the worst. Honestly, he doesn't understand it very well either. Then he concludes that they don't even know what crimes they committed. It all happened 300 years ago, for beasts like them who wear the disguise of humans. The principle is to desecrate your soul so that you cannot reincarnate. However, your luck seems to be good. The power of the evil god Yaksha. It's so perverse that only a truly malevolent being can control it. I will grant you a portion of this power so that you can eliminate the demons that have escaped from hell. Once you have paid the price in full, I will allow you to reincarnate. Before that, I will take your memories. You must not remember anything. The white bands envelop Muhan. He then says he will be obedient. Muhan says that since he was recklessly pushed into becoming a yaksha, he doesn't even know who he is anymore, or why he became a sinner. Muhan recalls spending 100 years in that state, filled only with questions and pain. Then his eyes glow a vacant white. Muhan and his group are enveloped in white ribbons. For the first time, he had companions. After sleeping on the cold floor for so long, it was fun to lean against someone for the first time. It was also fun to see those colleagues following him around, calling him captain. They even gave him his name. However, it was harder to adjust than Muhan expected. Muhan says that to him, they are all family. The girl, surprised, says he is suddenly saying such profound things, but Muhan reminds her that she was the one who asked first. Muhan says that at that time, he also had a goal. He wanted the people he loved to be able to sleep peacefully without worries and not feel the sadness of hunger. But it seemed like an unattainable dream, as he couldn't bear to see them all bowing their heads for something they didn't even do wrong. He just wanted them all to be safe and not suffer. So he decided to pay off his debt as quickly as possible to end that life of servitude. Muhan comments that it's good that he doesn't die, no matter how much he works, even if it seems like nothing is being accomplished. But suddenly, the girl stops him and states that they have actually achieved something. Our hero, after hearing this, widens his eyes. Muhan and the girl stare at each other. The girl says she heard that they paid off their debt. She then congratulates him. The girl asks if he heard. To her, they are all a family. Muhan then wonders how the girl can say something like that on her last day. Anyway, the girl asks him to express himself more. Muhan affirms that he already knew, even without him saying anything, but everything seems unreal. Then some time passes. Muhan looks up. Our hero then starts to sound cold. The final portal to reincarnation, the abyss of darkness. Even days like these arrive. Muhan says he never imagined that the yakshas would pay for all their sins. sins. Thanks to all of them, the boundary between the world of the living and the afterlife remained stable. They prevented unfortunate incidents that would have resulted in unjust victims. The ruler of the abyss of darkness in the 10 hells, the great king of the wheel of law. The great king states that they have all done well so far. Muhan asks if that's real. It's almost a shame to say goodbye to him like that, but that's not an eternal farewell or a dream. The great king says it's time to present them with a new beginning. Until the ceremony is fully prepared, it's time to say goodbye. One of his companions calls out to Muhan twice. "Captain! Captain!" The boy then asks Muhan if there is anything he wants to do in his next life. Our hero observes him without words. Muhan then replies that he has been so busy with daily survival that he never thought about it, so he will probably just live his life as it is, as long as he is reborn as an adult. He then asks what the boy will do. The boy replies that when he is reborn, he wants to become an adult. The boy says he wants to live until he grows up, and if Muhan allows it, he wants to be his father. Furthermore, he promises to repay everything Muhan has done for him so far. Another companion says that in their next lives, they will be a real family. She states that he always treated Sayoko like his own son. She then asks if perhaps Muhan will reap the benefits of that in his next life. Muhan asks if he is lying. Then, the boy replies by asking if he really thinks he would act like that on his last day. The drunkard then asks the boy about having a daughter. She says to let her enjoy life without worries. And well, this busty woman is called Kang Young Thief. The boy complains that he smells alcohol. One of the boys says that Sayoko's future wife will have a hard time. This one is called Ha-Yun Ho, the Cursed. Another one of Muhan's companions says no. Even without that, there is a way. Either Sayoko marries several times, or he is born as a woman. This one is called Yeon-hee, the Gear. Then, the boy asks his sister to stop saying strange things. Yeon-hee, possessing exactly 0% shame, wonders if it sounded strange and if she should leave. Then, his companions begin to argue. The girl with the scar on her eye says that they really have no limits when it comes to what they say to children. Then the shameless one asks what the problem is, as it's just a joke. Another one of his companions says that he will probably still be a square in the next life, and well, this one is called Jin Seong, the Enraged. Then, the woman with the scar says that she wants to be a teacher in her next life. And well, now that he's facing forward, I realized that he is actually a guy. I apologize. Then, the dude with the scar says he didn't mean that. And suddenly, he draws his sword and states that he will apologize with his death. Well, the name of this one is Jin Hon, the killer. Muhyun naturally says that he can't die anyway, and he asks Sayoko not to listen to guys like that. The boy then says he was serious. Muhyun thanks him but says it would be a bit much for him to be his son. However, being his dog would be fine. Suddenly, a voice states that everything is ready. Muhyun melancholically asks what that is. He then smiles, asking them to take care. Muhyun says they will meet again in the next life. Then, from now on, the boss warns that he will erase the Yaksha's memories. Upon hearing this, Muhyun's eyes widen. Muhyun and his friends ask, confused, what is happening? Muhyun asks if they will really erase their memories and, above all, not reincarnate them. The Great King then orders them to execute the plan. Then, everyone there is enveloped by a powerful purple energy. Meanwhile, the Great King finally appears and begins to obliterate them one by one. Muhyun screams, asking why. The Great King then states that he must not remember anything so that he follows orders well. Muhyun, shouting, asks him if he is trying to erase their memories and make them start over. Muhyun yells that it wasn't what they had agreed on, and asks why they are doing this to them. The Great King says that they have all done well so far, but there are no replacements for them. Therefore, he decided that it is better to continue using the same people. Muhyun asks what the hell that means, and yells at him to explain this ridiculous reason right now. Muhyun's eyes widen in shock. The Great King says that he lived a life worse than that of beasts. So if he has any shame, how can he complain? Muhyun shouts that he needs to know what he did wrong to feel ashamed, because how would he remember the things he did since he took away his memories? Then our hero asks all his companions to listen carefully. Muhyun and his companions brace themselves for what comes next. a powerful energy emanates from the Great King. Muhan and his friends are hit head-on. The explosion is so great that the place begins to crumble. Now silent, the Great King states that everything has calmed down. While Muhan lies completely obliterated and unconscious on the ground, the Great King asks if it isn't better to listen when someone is speaking. He says that it's always very noisy, but this wasn't the first time. Muhan then asks if they are saying that they will repeat this cycle forever. Muhan then begins to get up and says it can't be. Our hero, still completely burned, gradually writhes until he is standing. A dark energy emanates from him. Muhan says he needs to end the life of servitude of his children. Then Muhan rises, emanating a powerful energy. He wonders if that is the recovery of greed. Muhan states that it's an annoying ability, but anyway, it's too late. Our hero tells himself not to think too negatively, forgetting all his memories and starting over in a way is also reincarnation. Muhan then, completely furious, orders the Great King to stop it. He says he yearns for the lives of his companions to recover what they lost. Muhan says that even if it means defying death, he is willing to do anything for his companions. It's okay if he never exists in this world again. He would gladly dedicate his entire existence to this. Then, all his good memories flash through his mind. Memories of the incredible people he was lucky enough to meet. Our hero then screams, saying to give back what is his. Raindrops fall on the ground. Muhan then awakens submerged in water. And well, something incredible happens. Our hero realizes that his memory is intact and asks if his ability has been activated. Then Muhan asks about his children, where they are. A mysterious guy then says that he seems to have come to his senses. The guy with glasses passes before him with extreme speed. This man then says it has been a while and calls him Greed. Our hero, astonished, asks who he is. Promptly, the crazy guy says that apparently his memories haven't fully returned, but considering how many times his head has gone through the washing machine, it's not surprising. In that case, Muhan will remember this. You don't need to remember anything to follow orders. At the same instant, upon hearing this, Muhan goes into a trance. The mysterious man then holds Muhan's hand. He says that although they are acquainted, he will allow himself to introduce himself again. He is Kim Suho, former director of the Reapers, who organized the Yaksha team in the past. Kim Suho says that Muhan wants to recover what he lost. Muhan instantly changes his expression. They say you meet your enemies on a narrow bridge. Your luck seems to be good. Right now, there's only one thing you can do. Kim Suho asks if he is saying that his enemy is his escape route, and then asks if Muhan would like to hear more. Muhan, confused, wonders if he is joking. Soon, Kim Suho says ignorance is bliss when it comes to following orders, and states that Muhan was fortunate. Now, there is only one thing Muhan can do. Kim asks if he will listen. Meanwhile, our hero prepares to attack him. Muhan then plunges the body of the guy with glasses into the water with absurd force. Meanwhile, with a determined look, he says, "It's a pleasure to see you again, you bastard." Muhan then asks him why he will erase his memory and use him again. He asks how many times this has already happened and questions reincarnation. Muhan then says that all of this is a bunch of crap, and that if it's going to continue like this, it would be better if he simply disappeared. At least if he knew what crime he committed, he wouldn't feel so wronged, and orders Kim to answer. He asks that if he is going to abandon them and not take any responsibility, why did he create them in the first place? Kim Suho then apologizes for what he went through, but states that there was nothing he could do as he was exiled midway. Kim says there seems to be a lot of resentment towards him, and that there is much they don't know about each other. But first he asks Muhan to listen to his story just once. Kim then explains that it is an ancient legend. The underworld was plagued by reapers who fled before paying their debts. Back then, what solution did the afterlife propose? Muhan thinks, and then answers by saying that it was to deal with the fugitive reapers, who were considered evil spirits, and ordered the Yaksha to destroy them. Kim states that he is correct, and that, simply, if he runs away from his duties, he dies, and this rule was established after he was hired. Muhan, surprised, exclaims, "What?" Kim Soo-ho says that when he founded the Yakshas, their mission was purely to hunt evil spirits. Kim was exiled for trying to prevent that absurd rule from being established. At the same time, with no one to supervise the Yakshas, it fell under the jurisdiction of the Lord of Karma and Rebirth, and every time Muhan paid his debt, his memories began to be erased. The number of Yakshas is extremely small, but fugitive reapers continue to appear endlessly. Muhan stares at him seriously. Then, our hero comes to a conclusion. They are both screwed. Kim says he has no idea how he has been all this time. Muhan then replies that he has been stuck there all this time, and asks how he thinks he has been. Muhan asks him to stop with the small talk and get straight to the point. How does he plan to break this cycle? Kim says he was about to tell him. That place is the mirror of deeds, the mirror that reflects one's sins. It contains all the memories of his past life. Muhan is astonished. Kim then continues, saying that Muhan probably knows that there are two methods of reincarnation, the judgment of the 10 kings and the forgiveness of the bodhisattvas. Generally, the deceased must undergo the judgment of the 10 kings. In other words, one must serve the full sentence corresponding to their sins before being able to reincarnate. Kim Soo-ho explains that, however, there are rare cases where the bodhisattvas grant forgiveness. He explains that this happens to those who truly repent of their sins from their past life and prove that they are no longer the same evil person. Forgiveness grants a new life without imposing any additional sins. This is the authority of the bodhisattva, a powerful means of forgiveness that can be applied regardless of judgment. However, for the Yakshas, who had their memories of repentance removed, the path was blocked from the beginning. Thanks to the Lord of Karma and Rebirth, those who cannot even see the gate of reincarnation finally achieve their freedom. So, he has a proposal for our dear Greed. Kim then snaps his fingers. Now standing, Kim says that if he makes a contract with him and completes the assigned task according to his instructions, he will return all his memories of his past life. As soon as Muhan recovers his memories, he can seek the forgiveness of the bodhisattva. Kim then asks if he isn't curious to know what kind of person he was and how he ended up in this situation. And then Muhan will finally break the cycle he is in. Muhan listens attentively and promptly accepts. However, our hero says that there is one condition. What he will recover are the memories of his Yaksha teammates, his comrades. Kim Soo-ho then asks, "Your comrades?" Muhan, in the blink of an eye, changes his expression and asks if there is any problem with his proposal. Kim says no, it's just unexpected, because if he appreciated them so much, why does he hate them? Then, in a flashback, Muhan's companions ask their captain if he hates them. As a tear rolls down his face, Muhan recalls all the moments he spent with them, moments of joy and pain. Muhan states that he never hated any of them. Then, he starts walking in the water and asks what kind of captain he would be. He says that for him, it's natural to take full responsibility for his subordinates. And besides, there's something that has been bothering him since before. Holding that magical fabric, our hero exclaims that Kim should call him by his current real name. Muhan states that his name is not Greed, but Muhan. Kim Soo-ho's eyes widen. He thinks, then says that this is a variable. It's worrying at this rate. Suddenly, a little girl approaches Muhan and hands him a contract. The contract reads, "The Yaksha captain, referred to as me, will execute the instructions of the former captain, referred to as Gap. The instructions will provide compensation similar to that of a Grimhansu. Compensation, memories of comrades." On the contract, Party A's signature is signed, Kim Soo-ho, while Party B is empty, awaiting Muhyun's signature. Just below it says, excluding Muhyun, compensation, memories of the 9 Yaksha. And well, what's done is done. The contract together with the little girl begin to emanate an intense glow. But before everything was finalized, Kim yells, saying to wait a minute, and while Muhyun smiles, surrounded by water, Kim states that this contract is invalid. Now, In a sunny sky, our hero reappears in a temple. Carrying the little girl with him, he wonders what Kim, that smiling snake, meant by null. After all, didn't he himself say it's something only he can do? Then Muhan wonders what he should be doing, since he's not some kind of babysitter, right? The little girl suddenly stands up, clearly angry. She rebukes him, stating that even though she looks like this, she has lived longer than Muhan. Our hero then hands her a candy that magically appears in his hands. The little girl is extremely happy. Muhan then wonders about the difference between babysitting and this. While the little girl enjoys that Korean candy, Muhan says that she is a child spirit, and then he exclaims that, as expected, that place is a fucking sanctuary dedicated to him. Then the little girl screams as she observes the place. Our hero states that as soon as the light of the contract shone, they arrived there, and everything indicates that it is a religious group from the world of the living. It seems that the contract that the guy with glasses mentioned was executed correctly. Muhan then wonders what he should do there now, and based on his experience, that kind of place. Suddenly, a voice interrupts his thought. Brothers and sisters, you have waited for a long time. Finally, the young master who descended to this earth for us. Then, amidst the crowd, the narrator announces the arrival of Jane. And well, all the little girl's expectations are thrown in the trash upon seeing Fat James. Muhan smiles, stating that there is a 99% chance that this is a cult. Our hero then covers the little girl's mouth and asks how they dare. Muhan changes his expression. A sound echoes in that place. Muhan wonders what it is, and well, a cluster of people with an evil aura are watching him. Then, our hero apologizes and states that the child in his arms is very small and that he will keep everything quiet. These humans here, the atmosphere is unusual. Their gazes are averted. There is nothing good that comes from provoking them. Suddenly, a voice claims to be good judgment. The existence of the afterlife must be revealed to the living. Our hero wonders if those humans are hearing the Reaper's voice and where it's coming from. Kim then interrupts his thoughts and says, "This child is my daughter. She is the spirit of the mirror which reflects everything she sees in her eyes in the karmic mirror. From now on, your orders will come through this child, so lift your head." Muhan looks at the little girl in his arms. Kim then says that from now on, 3 lines ahead at 2 o'clock. Next, Kim states that he is the fugitive who abandoned his post the day before. He says that he spared him from execution at Ye Young's request. Kim then asks if he will spare him again. And well, it was a pretty silly deal to lose his life like that, basically. The fugitive said he just wanted to go home, but was completely judged for that attitude. Kim asks him to approach the fugitive after the meeting is over. Capturing him is his first mission. Muhan then asks if he should just capture him, but not subdue or execute him. But then our hero stops thinking about helping others and states that it doesn't matter, because he just needs to quickly finish the task that the Reaper assigned him and recover the memories of his children. For that, he will do anything at all. Then, back at the temple, a voice states that the young master will purify their souls, cleansing everyone. Muhan asks, "Anything, right?" Then the voice tells everyone to feel the power of the holy water in the depths of their souls. Master James prepares for the ritual, telling the evil spirit to go away, and starts splashing water on everyone there. While a woman thanks the young master, another man says he is being purified. And well, our hero is dumbfounded to see that pathetic scene, but soon he pulls himself together and says to stay focused. Muhan thinks, if it's for my family. Then suddenly, Master James asks him why he is already wet. Muhan, covered in holy water, tells the Reaper that it's over. The little girl is outraged by the amount of water they threw on her. Then, James says that they will meet next time and says goodbye. After going through the purification ceremony, the people around our protagonist comment that their heads are clear and that the young master is truly miraculous. Then, soon after, our hero states sarcastically that when they are hit by the holy water, they come to their senses. Muhan wonders why those humans are falling for such a foolish trick. Our hero then then wonders if that guy is also one of his targets. Muhan wonders if the place they escaped to twice is just some kind of cult. Muhan then thinks about calling out to him Seon Woo Jin. Then, the fugitive, Seon Woo Jin, turns around. Upon hearing his name being called, he is in shock. Muhan then pins him against the wall. Our hero says it's natural for a sheep to fear the sheepdog and asks the fugitive not to worry, as he's not going to kill him. Seon then asks what happens if he doesn't want to and if Muhan will send him back, like the day before. Meanwhile, Seon Woo Jin's fist fills with a dark purple aura. Muhan then orders Seon to wait and calm down. Suddenly, a dark energy condenses on the ceiling. The people around ask what's going on. Seon then shouts, saying that the place he belongs to is there, because only his family treats him like a human, accusing everyone of treating him worse than a slave. Our hero yells that he is escaping. The little girl soon asks them to chase him. Muhan then runs over all the humans around him as he runs. The little girl says that from that moment on, they share a common destiny, because if they fail, it means they will all lose their heads together. He asks Kim's spirit not to waste time with useless threats and just give him orders. The little girl in his arms smiles. She says that improving the treatment of reapers through the creation of a labor union. Her father insisted that only this method could prevent the disappearance and escape of the reapers, but he ended up exiled. Meanwhile, without stopping, our hero tears apart everyone he sees in front of him. After that, the Yaksha became the sheepdogs of the Lord of Karma and Rebirth. While Seon shakes the door, desperate to get out of there as quickly as possible, Muhan gets closer and closer. Seon pulls the door with all his might. Meanwhile, the little girl finishes by saying that it's impossible for the Reapers to unite. That's why they need him. Then, our hero, while holding Seon by the shirt, is astonished to see something outside. Reflected in Muhyun's eyes were enormous chains. Suddenly, an absurdly dangerous being appears in front of him. Our hero then widens his eyes and calls out to Seok, and Seok, his former companion, observes him. Suddenly, Muhyun is hit by an attack. With that, Seon breaks free, and in tears watches all of this. So, if we want to create a union for the Reapers, we need to expel these sheepdogs first, right? Then we can finally see an overview of what really happened. Muhyun frees the little girl and Seon from the attack, but in return, he is brutally hit. The only person who can protect the Reapers from the Yakshas, Kim, watching everything from afar, states that it's him, Muhyun, and asks him if he isn't the leader of the Yakshas. Kim, drinking his tea, comments that he was a little uncomfortable with the fact that Muhyun cared about others. However, since the contract has already been finalized, he states that there's nothing he can do about it. Then, he wishes Muhyun good luck in his fight, especially with his comrades. Immediately, Muhyun gets up, his eyes shining intensely and with a lot of blood in his mouth. Enraged, he calls out to Kim and curses him, calling him a goddamn piece of trash.